Like when people say, oh, God speaks to me, blah, blah, blah. It's not crazy. God speaks to everybody. But he doesn't speak to you like, hey, what's up? He's going to rain on your head. And then you're supposed to look at the rain on your head and be like, so whoever's providing all this stuff for us is coming from up there? That's what you're supposed to think. And this is the speech. Nature is the speech. We're given powers of the earth as human beings, but the devil was given power to manipulate us using all of these other methods. So he could use movies, he could use music, he can use military force. All of these things are given to him, but he doesn't have any power of his own. It's given him to test us. So these people who failed the test, they went into temptation, and in order to summon these demons, you have to commit certain acts for them.
It's kind of like when you're doing research and you're looking at where people found their facts. And then they have their little attachment.
Right. And you have to put that citation. You can't just put out some research without a proper citation.
I get what you're saying.
But if I just tell you, oh yeah, Matthew said it.
Right.
Matthew who?
Matthew
like who? What? You know,
who's Matthew's father?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they want to know. We want to know.
Yeah.
Right? You know, so we want to know. You could burn every single. There was a guy. He said, "Oh, he's like a radical. He don't like Islam." He said, "I'm gonna burn every Quran. We want to burn every Quran." You could burn every Quran in the world. We got 5-year-old kids who'll bring it back in a day. The whole thing. One kid. There's 10 million people who know the whole book. Keep them distracted so we can keep getting this money. And, they just want more and more. But they never, I don't understand why they don't get satisfied. Like, why does a billionaire still work?
Well,
I just don't get it.
Well, I think that's it goes back to what you were saying, right? It's like their own curse. Because it's like, they're cursed to want that. You right? Because you're gonna die, right?
What he said about the jellyfishes, he said that historically, right, the sea has always represented the human consciousness, and he said that if you look at the seas now, the fish and the great animals are dying, like the whales.
That's true.
And things like that are dying,
right.
And he's like, that's the greatness in the human consciousness, and he said the jellyfish are taking over the seas. And what are jellyfish? They're spineless, mindless consumers.
Ago. It's the conversation. Yeah. Take your mind different places. Now you know.
So yeah, we got Athan in the crib. What's going on, man? How you feeling?
I'm good.
How was the journey over here? Everything safe?
Everything's good.
No crackheads?
Nice. Yeah, a couple. New York City life.
Yeah, but for real, like honestly, it's crazy in the trains, especially at night. What's the craziest shit you've seen like past couple days?
New York City, man. It's crazy every day. You see people. There's all types of stuff because the economy is crazy. So things are,
out of whack.
A lot of people suffering.
A lot of
But hopefully the future will be better.
A lot of mental health issues mixed in with poverty, mixed in with what the fuck is gonna happen with the rest of our lives.
Cost of living.
Right. Exactly.
Things like that.
So,
but it relates to what we were talking about last time.
But all right, let's begin where we left off. Right. So we were talking about how the Egyptian pyramids were built. You were about to begin, and then the fucking camera turned off.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I'll put a clip of that too.
The Egypt. Well, the Quran says how the pyramids were built.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
It says that they
Oh
took.
shit! That means the camera died.
Oh, we were talking about like the scriptures and different things in the Muslim scriptures. So I was telling you that because everybody thinks the pyramids were a mystery, and I was telling you it's written in there that what they did was they took the mud from the Nile River, cast it, baked it in the sun, and then used those blocks to build it. That's what it says.
But you know that came from 500 miles away from where the quarry of where that is and where the pyramids were built were 500 miles away.
Well, that's because people are assuming it's stone.
Okay.
But it's not stone.
Okay, so
according to the book, it's mud that was baked into a stone. And then there were certain scientists, like I don't want to get too, debate on it, but there were scientists who looked at the stone and they found pieces of like, I don't know what you want to call it, like plant life, algae, things that would come from a...
Soil.
No, come from a water-based environment.
Okay.
To back it up. But, it's just one of the things that,
Another thing is that...
Because you're not going to drag limestone from 500 miles, like, it's, So then people start getting into aliens and they start thinking that they had like gravity things that they're just using to, like, it's not like that. It's just something very simple.
So
Take the mud out the river, bake it into bricks, stack the bricks on top of each other until it gets to,
do you think it's just part of human nature to want to like create myths out of our own history instead of looking at it for face value?
Yes and no. I think a lot of it has to do with racism.
Really?
Of course,
Okay.
because you look at like who they were. You look at the pictures on the wall, and
They
then you see
orchestrated
that
a
they
certain
built
way.
something that people can't build from European background. So they're gonna say, "Oh, it must have been aliens."
Well, that's
it
an
couldn't have been African people building it,
Right,
you
or
know?
just indigenous people, right? Because
Yeah.
you got pyramids and you got ziggurats. So I definitely would understand like the difference. You know what I mean? Like I would get how people kind of just like impose their own like belief system and they want to like take others. You know what I mean? I feel like that's what goes on. But you're right. Like if you think about pyramids and you think about ziggurats, they've only been created in those areas. Another crazy thing.
No,
too,
there's pyramids. I think China has pyramids, but they're not that size. Like the Great Pyramid of Giza is huge.
But were the pyramids in China created in those times as well?
I don't know too much about that.
Right.
I don't know. Like this, Mexico has pyramids, China has pyramids, so this whole pyramid thing is a thing. But I don't know too much about why it's all over the world or what's behind that.
I recently just learned about a temple that's in India that's literally 1,200 years old. And a lot of the architecture that was created there, people didn't think that was created until 900 years after. So that's why, like, I would agree with you, like, how, all right, if people are going to say, all right, they have this conception of how certain things were created or how certain things were built, but if they weren't there, they can't really say shit.
Right.
But I can understand, like, why people feel like, I don't know, back in the day, they probably had a better answer. I think it just happens. I think it happens in cycles, man.
Yeah, I don't know. But before I go to aliens, I would try something else. You know what I mean? Like just go straight to aliens. And there's a lot of people who think that kind of stuff.
Right.
But
all right. So, what is the way that, let's say, going into the topics of like Muslim culture, right, and finding how, let's say, from the times of Egypt until now, was there any influence?
So Egypt, the Muslim religion or the Quran, it goes along with the Bible kind of. It's like if you were to read the Bible, and you have the Old Testament, you have the New Testament. Quran would be like the last testament, and then it kind of overlaps the other two and corrects some things and fixes everything into a nice order. So when you're talking about like Egyptian history, you have like different time periods. You have the time period of the prophet Joseph. He was like one of the first ones. You have Abraham, he went to Egypt. So Egypt was a major place throughout the history of the whole, whether you're Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Egypt was a thing.
It was a place to go to.
Right, like Abraham was there, Joseph was there,
Right.
Moses was there.
Right.
They all passed through there. So it was a major place. It's kind of like Jerusalem, same thing,
They said that like that area used to be very like fruitful in terms of the topography. It was more like nature, green, herbs, and all this stuff like that.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
desert. Right. Okay. So like it used to be
green.
Right, and then now it's all desert. Like
right,
land.
but you know that green period. Actually, we have the prophet of Islam. Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said that it will turn green again, like it was before. And the thing is, for him to be an illiterate man who grew up around people who just didn't have access to technology and stuff, he would never know that on his own because the time period when it was green is thousands of years before. And now it's turning green again, actually.
Really?
So even if you look on NASA, you'll see it. It's starting to turn green. The desert is starting to turn green again.
That's crazy.
So it's gonna go back to being like that.
Wow.
I don't know if it's climate change or whatever it is, but this was
It-
one of the
it definitely
prophecies.
is,
This
bro.
is one of the prophecies that was in the books.
What are certain prophecies that are being fulfilled right now in present day?
A lot.
Talk to me about it. This is I wanna,
I mean, you could go
and
into.
what are the prophecies leading to?
So they're leading to a great battle. I guess you would say like the battle between good and evil, Jesus coming back, Antichrist, a war. On one side you have the Antichrist, or what we would call a false Messiah. On the other side you have the Messiah, Jesus, and his followers, and they're going to be battling for ultimate supremacy. Of course, Jesus and his followers are going to win because he's the Messiah, meaning he's the king. He's going to rule as a king over the earth. in the future, you know. But the prophecies that are happening now, there's a lot. There's too many of them for me to list. I mean, STDs. He talked about the clothing that we were going to wear. He said women would be clothed but would be naked at the same time. Spandex, basically.
Yeah.
They didn't have that in those time periods.
Right, at all.
So people didn't understand it when he said it. People were just like, what? What does that mean? But
Right.
now we understand it. He talked about the TV. He said that the trials and tribulations of the people will be shown to you on a mat that has like, the word that he used, it means like horizontal and diagonal, like pixels. You could say pixels. And he said that the trials and tribulations will be shown to you on that. And the people will watch it and they will get things in their heart. Like if you let it get to you, it'll ruin you. So you don't want to like look at too much suffering and things like that on TV because it'll make you angry. It'll make you into an angry person.
It's very true.
But yeah, but he said that. He said
And it's also very manipulative, right? If you think about like how news can alter reality and make it seem a certain way,
Right.
But then who knows,
yeah,
right?
yeah, I know. I just finished watching them talk about, the economy's great. I go outside, all the stores are closed, there's homeless people everywhere. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, what are you talking about? Exactly.
What are you talking about? They'll just keep saying it.
They'll keep saying it until it happens,
You know,
right?
it's crazy. And I studied marketing, and this
That is-
is a marketing concept.
That is a marketing, yeah, it
If
is.
they say in marketing, if
Yeah.
you hear something 6 times, you'll buy the product.
Right.
So what they're trying to sell you is this idea.
And didn't Trump take us out of the health organization?
World Health Organization.
World, yeah.
I mean, I'm personally, I don't like all those global type of things.
Elitist
Like
type
try
of-
to control a whole globe at one time. It's like, who do you think you are? You know what I mean? Like people have different ways of doing things. It's nice to travel to different parts of the world and see different
So
cultures.
you would agree that it's a good thing that he did that?
I don't know the details of it, so for me to comment on it.
Okay.
But what I do think is this: I think that the globe does need to be on the same page, because
It does.
if you're talking about climate change, right? And they say, oh, no, we can't do this, or we can't use oil, we need to use electricity. It doesn't matter if we do it, if another country is gonna, because the earth is gonna want the same amount of oil,
Exactly.
you know? So if we don't drill here,
Right.
somebody else is gonna drill. And if
Yup.
their drilling is dirtier than ours, then they're polluting more than we would have polluted by drilling here. So it affects the whole earth. Like everybody lives on the same earth. So we do need some kind of consensus, about what we're gonna do. But the problem is when you give somebody that much power,
They abuse
they're always
it.
gonna abuse it. So we're in a precarious situation. But
Because it's an everlasting thing.
yeah, but what will happen is the earth is not meant to last forever with us on it. But the earth is a living, breathing organism.
It's gonna replenish itself.
Yeah, it will replenish itself. It'll get rid of us.
Yes.
That's what it'll do.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think that is actually the case, though. And I'm going to disagree with you only because there's been many times throughout history where plagues happen and we're still here.
Yeah, but
You
those
know
are
what I-
viruses, though.
No, but I'm saying
Yeah.
plagues of all kinds, right? Like environmental,
Yeah.
virus, like
Right. I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like plagues. I'm not saying only in the aspect of like viruses, but like mass killings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was caused by the earth.
I agree with you.
You know what I mean?
I agree with you.
And
actually.
we're still here.
Yeah, we're
so
still
that's
here.
like that's the weird part about it, you know?
Yeah.
That's what makes me feel like, okay, so then there's people that survive. It's gonna be a wild, crazy, treacherous way to live for quite some time.
Not really. It's gonna be the way we used to live, But I don't.
You have to get used to
I
it.
agree with you. When
You have to get
I
used to it.
said it's gonna get rid of us, I didn't mean like every single person.
Completely.
But we will have to go back to that way of life where, like, if society fails, collapses, and everything changes, you're gonna be chopping wood again, fighting animals
Right.
again, and those skills are gonna come back. And skills like knowing how to they're gonna be useless
irrelevant.
because
Right.
there's not gonna be that kind of thing going on without the people to back it up and stuff. I don't know what's gonna happen, but
No, we don't know.
yeah.
But you were right in terms of when Argentina won.
Oh,
Remember that shit?
I mean, come on, man.
For real, yo. That was
No
good.
disrespect to
No
Colombia,
disrespect. No disrespect. Colombians were tight that day.
Yeah,
For real.
yeah.
That's funny as shit. All right, so now you've been learning these teachings for how long?
I mean, I spent 10 years
Okay.
going through. So what I did was this, and this is something I encourage like everybody to do. If you want to know if you want to find the truth, right? You have to let go of everything that you have. So you got to let go of everything and start fresh. And then you start at one thing and you say, okay, what do these people have to say? What do these people have to say? What do these people have to say? And you put it all together, and then you come up with your own conclusions. So this is what I did. It took me about 10 years, right? And I came up with my own conclusions, but I didn't get to the Quran till last. And I already had these conclusions that I had figured out based on looking at the people who, look at the stars and the constellations, and, you got the Hindus and you got the Jews and all the different groups of people, Christians, everybody, right? Yeah. But I didn't get to the Quran. So I knew what these things were. Okay, I figured this out, and I came to the conclusion that there has to be one source of everything, because there couldn't be two, because who would have created, you get what I'm saying? Like one of them has to be created by the other one. Mm-hmm. So it means that there has to be one, right? And that one can't be created. Because if he was created, something would have to create him, and then you would have an everlasting cycle. So the first thing that existed is uncreated. That's the way it has to be. So God is
it's nothing.
So what we would call as God, Allah, or what anyone else would call as God is not nothing. It's not a creation.
Right, but all right. So when I say nothing, right? When you think of space, right? There's a lot of nothing in space, but there's also life in space, and there's also planets and galaxies. But space is also full. That's what I'm saying. It's full, but then there's also a lot of nothing in it too, though, bro.
Not really.
But
it's full of dark matter and things that we don't understand.
I see what you're saying. So things that we don't necessarily see doesn't mean that it's not full and not there.
Right. And then you also have dimensions of space. So you have this space, but then you have another dimension on top of it, and you have layers of. But this is actually another concept in the Quran.
How?
He says he created 7 earths and 7 heavens in layers. In layers. So this is what he's talking about, is what we call today as multiverse. It's not a universe. It's a multiverse. There's another layer on top. So you can see, like, sometimes people see things that exist in another dimension. For example, like if you see a spirit or something, the spirit is not like you walk right through it. It'll walk through a wall. It's not in the 3rd dimension. It's in a 4th dimension. It's like in another plane, but it's here, but it's not. If you get what I'm saying. Like the molecules or whatever makes up the existence of these beings are wider apart, so that they can pass through our reality.
They've proven that, right? That atoms can travel time and space and all this shit, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'm not the most scientific person.
No, but I'm pretty
they call
sure,
it the multiverse. They call it a multiverse.
I'm pretty sure they proved that atoms can do that. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm gonna fact check it, and I'm gonna see.
But this is one of the things that we call as hakika, which means true in more than one way.
Where does that come from, hakika?
From hak, which means truth. So hakika is like a multiple truth, like a truth on top of a truth, because the heavens.
I mean origin.
This is an Arabic word.
Oh, hakika?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, when you say that the heavens are in layers, we could be talking about the multiverse, right?
Right.
But let's say that didn't exist. It's still true because the word for heavens, sama, means the skies as well, and there's 7 layers to our atmosphere.
Got you.
Hakika, yeah. But this means like a true in more than one way.
Okay.
So it could mean the multiverse, layers of heavens, or it could mean the atmosphere, the ionosphere, the all the different layers of the atmosphere.
Do they go deep?
There's 7 of them.
Do they go deep into like how reality is in those different spheres? Or not really?
Not necessarily.
It's more of like this exists.
Because the reason why they don't go too deep into it is because the point of religious books or religion in general is just to prove the existence of God, or for you to recognize God. So we see like the life of this earth is just a test to see if you're going to, 1, locate and recognize your creator, and then 2, acknowledge the creator. So when you look at the things around you, it's meant for you to sit there and think about them. Like when you look at a tree, you're not supposed to just think like, oh, that's a tree. You're supposed to think like, why is it like that? Why do the branches go like that? When it rains, you're supposed to be thinking like, why does it rain on top of my head and not from under my feet? And these are supposed to be like when people say, oh, God speaks to me, blah, blah. It's not crazy. God speaks to everybody, but he doesn't speak to you like, hey, what's up? He's going to rain on your head. And then you're supposed to look at the rain on your head and be like, so whoever's providing all this stuff for us is coming from up there? That's what you're supposed to think. And this is the speech. Nature is the speech. So, when you look at the animals and the plants and all of these things, these is God's expressing himself to the people. And we're supposed to look at it and eventually come up with the conclusion that this wasn't an accident. This was created. This was designed.
Yes, very purposefully.
You know, yeah. When you look at the
Everything.
design,
Come on,
you know,
everything.
like
Everything
why
is so
all the planets
perfect.
circle? Why do they circle around each other? And then
Yo.
you look at an atom and it circles the protons and the new. Like, why is it the same?
And what is and what is the only natural thing? What's the only natural circle in life?
What do you mean?
What is the only natural circle in life?
The natural circle. There's
What
a
is-
lot of circles.
No. What is the only natural circle in life? Not there's a lot of course there's a lot of circles, but what an actual natural circle in life? What is
You
it?
tell me. I don't know.
Nah, bro, I'm asking you. I know the answer.
I don't know the answer. I mean, I see a lot of circles.
It's right in your eyes, bro. Isn't that
It's your
crazy?
eyes.
Isn't
Yeah,
that crazy?
Yeah, that's true.
Isn't that crazy?
The eyes are circle.
Isn't that wild? Out of like everything that could possibly be perfect, it's right in your eyes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the thing is, like, when you look at that, it's not. You're not supposed to just say, "Oh, this was an accident."
No, that's what I mean,
Yeah,
bro.
somebody-
That's why it's right in your face.
Yeah,
that's what the
it's like-
fuck is like. It's so crazy about it, yo. You know
Or
what
as
I
it
mean?
will say in the book, it says, "We'll show you the
Right.
signs in the universe and in yourself." You know, until you know that this is the truth. This is what the Quran says. It says, "We'll show you the signs out there and inside of yourself until you know that this is the truth." So
like that,
you
man.
look at fruits. And the things that they do, like carrots, are good for the eyes. They look like an eye like when you
Right.
chop a carrot. When you
Onions
look
too,
at
right?
the certain fruits, like the artichoke, I think it looks like a heart. It's good for the, like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
People like the cherries are good for the blood, and all these things like the way that they look. You know, and then you think about how the human being is created from the earth, but the earth nourishes the human being as
Right.
well. And then the different things that the earth produces happen to nourish the human being in those things that it looks like that it's designed. It's a design. It's a
It
design.
is a design.
You know, so when you look at that design, you have to appreciate the designer who put you meaning your soul, into this biotech.
Right.
And then he gives you. People don't like the laws. People say, you know, I don't like the rules and the laws, but the laws are the
Of what
instruction
exactly?
book. The laws are the instruction book.
But the laws are from where?
The laws of God.
Okay. That's
They-
why I
they're-
want to be like
yeah,
more
yeah.
specific.
Yeah. No, the laws of God are an instruction manual that teaches the human being, which is the soul, how to operate the biotech that we are embedded in. So when he says, like, don't eat this, don't eat that, do this, do that, walk this, do that, all of these things, you know, are designed to optimize this body,
temple.
which is not you. It's your responsibility. It's like a car. It's like a really nice vehicle, and you're embedded in it.
Right.
And you get to operate it
Right.
however you want.
Right.
And at the end, you take it out of it, you leave it behind.
Right.
And then, you know, we're looked at how we treated it, how we handled it, how we handled the environment, how we dealt with the animals, how we dealt with other people. And this is what the test is just there for that reason.
But
you know?
you bring up animals. So there's a lot of different people that have a lot of different like thoughts about like how to think about animals. But what if people really just believe in hunting? You know what I mean? And
There's nothing wrong with hunting.
Right.
The animals were put here to serve us. You know? Why do you think you could go to a place where there's lions walking around, right? They could easily just walk up to you and just and you just be like, ah, right?
I'm dead.
But what do? They look at you like, whoa, whoa. The animals recognize
Right.
the respect of the dignity of the human being. They look at you like, yo, who's that walking on 2 feet like that? You know, they recognize.
Yeah.
All the animals recognize. You could jump on the back of a wild animal, tame him, and then now you're just riding him. But animals don't ride other animals.
That's true. Well, actually, no, they do. Some do. Yeah. In the ocean constantly. And there's like certain frogs that will go on turtles' backs, and like there's certain animals. There's actually certain animals that clean up other animals.
I saw that. The
Yo.
shark and the other fish. But
there's-
that's different. That's an ecosystem working together. What
right.
I'm talking about
True.
is you
actually doing
getting
it
on an animal
for
and
your
then-
own,
and then you're manipulating that animal to do what you want it to do. Like a frog will jump on a turtle, but the turtle's gonna go where the turtle's gonna go, and the
shit.
frog is along for the
Yo,
ride.
you know what I just thought about? The only thing that does that like what we do, is a parasite.
Parasites are not good.
My point. Yeah.
I know some people who've been researching parasites, and the parasites seem to be the cause of a lot of diseases.
Oh yeah.
You know.
You know what they say? turmeric is actually really good to kill parasites.
There's a lot of things you could do to kill parasites, you know. But if you look at even RFK, he had a parasite in his brain. You know, you can get parasites from eggs. So, for example, if you got meat that's out there, a fly lays its eggs.
Right.
You know, you eat that. You know, like you got to be careful.
Right.
Because these parasites will control and they'll get in your brain.
Right.
And start growing and start eating at your brain. And then you see people going crazy. You don't know why they're going crazy. It's because of the food that they eat and they never purified themselves.
Right.
You know, so that's why, you know, things like fasting, these things get rid of parasites because they need a certain amount of nutrients. And they steal nutrients from the people. They steal nutrients from you.
And fasting is a part of the culture as well, right?
Yeah, well, every religion has it.
Really?
But not everybody fasts.
Really?
Yeah. So like the Jews, they have a 24-hour fast. I think they do it 2 times a year.
Really?
Holidays. The Muslims, we have a Ramadan.
Right.
The Christians have Lent.
How long is Ramadan for again?
Ramadan is 1 lunar month.
So a whole month?
A month, yeah. No, we don't not eat for a whole month. We just
obviously at night, right?
We just eat at night.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So it depends where you are, how long the night is.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But it travels, so every year it's going to be different. So sometimes it's longer than others.
And it's nighttime. You're going to sleep.
A few years ago, the fasting was like 17 or 18 hours in New York per day.
In New York? Oh, because of the light.
Right. But now in this year, it'll be less than that. Because a lunar year is not like a solar year. A solar year is longer, so every lunar year is going to move up a month. So it used to be in July, then it moved up to May. Now this year's going to be in March.
This year's in March?
Yeah, same thing, but the calendar is the same. The lunar calendar, like the Chinese, they have their lunar calendar, the Lunar New Year. We just passed the Lunar New Year for the Chinese. Mm-hmm. That's not going to be at the same date next year. It's going to be earlier. You know, because people are watching the lunar cycles, and the human being operates on these cycles. Like women's cycle, it's a lunar cycle as well. That's why their cycle is moving. It's not on the same day of the month. Like sometimes women will be like, oh, you know, my time of the month came a little early this way. It's because the cycle is based on the moon, and the moon represents woman. The sun represents man.
That's true.
And the moon represents woman.
Yeah, it's always. I have a song called Eclipse. That is like, baby, I'm the sun, you are the moon. Yeah, it's just fire. It's a dope ass song.
But it's a deep metaphysical concept.
Absolutely,
you know?
absolutely. And even like I threw some innuendos of that in the song too, like you know, Eclipse. You know, like the name of the song, the Eclipse. You know what's crazy too is that I wrote that song the same day of the eclipse, and I didn't know that the eclipse was happening. It was kind of crazy.
But yeah, it's like they represent. So the moon is like them because the moon is not the same.
Do you think that
it changes? Just like the personality of a woman will change throughout the course of a month.
Right.
And the man, we're supposed to be like the sun, meaning reliable. Every day we're at the same time. We're at work. We clock in. We do what we got to do. We go home.
Right.
Every next day we get up. And then like if you look at like those old school men, like my grandfather or probably your grandfather, or everybody's grandfather.
Right.
These dudes used to just go to work every single day, no time off. They didn't complain. They didn't do everything. They were like the sun, just clockwork.
Right.
Oh, here's dad. He's going to work. Then he come back.
That's
he
true.
goes, he sets,
gets
back up at his time, goes to work. Like
that's so true, man.
And the power of the sun is aggressive power. It's
sun and moon, yo, like sun, moon, and stars.
Sun, moon, yeah.
Sun, moon, and stars. So do you feel that the more that we try to stray away from the natural order of things is the reason why it's just a continuous chaos?
You want to get deep with that?
Sure.
That goes deep.
Yeah.
So changing that order, like I said, the woman is similar to the moon, the man is similar to the sun, traditionally speaking, right? And this is in the books. Like even if I read to you like some of the verses of the book, you know, this is it talks about the sun and his power, and this is the moon as she follows him. So it uses feminine words because Arabic language or these traditional Semitic languages are kind of like Spanish. The words have genders. You know, so the word for moon is a feminine word.
La luna.
Yeah. La luna. It's the
sol.
same thing. It's the same thing. So like so what happens is you have a movement of people who are powerful on this earth who, I'm just be straight up on 100, follow the devil. They worship the devil.
They do, right?
And they get information from these beings. So they commit certain acts.
But you think like, all right, like, but for real, right? Like you think like they really follow the devil, right? Like on some like the same way like people go to temples for God, they go to like some fucking weird shit for
A
the
Masonic
devil.
temple?
Yeah. So I didn't even know. I didn't even know the term. Look at that.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that all of the Masons are devil worshippers, but what I'm saying is that based on what I know and what I've heard from people who are in that lifestyle at high levels, there are devil worshippers. And what they do is they commit certain acts, atrocities, mass killings, things with babies and stuff like that in order to summon certain demons from the fourth dimension into the room, and then they converse with these demons. And they get information from them. And the demons tell them, okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do this. And they gain power and authority on this earth, but it's given to them from the wrong source. It's given to them from an evil source. And what their goal is, I mean, they're just trying to be kings on this earth. But the devil was given certain powers over, the earth. Not like we're given powers of the earth as human beings, but the devil was given power to manipulate us using all of these other methods. So he could use movies, he could use music, he can use military force. All of these things are given to him, but he doesn't have any power of his own. It's given him to test us. So these people who failed the test, they went into temptation. And in order to summon these demons, you have to commit certain acts for them. It's like an act of worship, and they are happy with that because now you're doomed. You've just basically sold your soul. So they're satisfied with that. And then that's when they will help you, because now it doesn't matter what they give you on this earth, because eventually you're going to die. And it doesn't really matter what they give you. So they are the ones who are manipulating the society to be backwards. And what will happen is once people start accepting left as right, up as down, even the way that we write is backwards from the way that we used to write thousands of years ago. Once everything is completely opposite, then that's when you will get a false Messiah or a Antichrist, a person who is the opposite of, and he will come and he will say, I'm the Messiah, I'm God, and people will believe it because they are completely backwards in how they think because they've been trained that way. They grew up like that, So these people are, been manipulating society for thousands of years.
Do you think that's what? Thank you. Do you think that's what leads up to the war?
Yeah, it's a good versus evil,
Constant.
Yeah, but these people have been doing this. They have plans that last 1,000 years. They've been passing this down from generation to generation, and it's gonna culminate in that, where there's a certain amount of evil in the world, and then there's a certain amount of people who will just refuse to go along with it, and these two forces are gonna end up clashing with each other. And
that's interesting that you bring that up. I have a friend, shout out Fendi, that he is very adamant about this war, and he's really, really wanting to pretty much kill these other sides.
I mean, the thing is like this war is not, everybody thinks it's going to happen in their time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like when people see it, the time is coming. Like we probably got a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like things can get a lot worse. They're bad, but they can get a lot worse. And the way that the war or that this time period is described, there's no food. There's a lot of people starving. Like it's not a good time. It's much worse than what it is now. So, for me to think that that's coming like right away, I don't think so. You know what I mean? But we were given more information. We were given detailed information of signs to look out for. So, we'll have a better idea when we start seeing other things happen, But right now, I wouldn't say it's around the corner. But nobody knows, though. Nobody knows. It could be.
What are some of those other things that are expected to come for that moment to arise? I
mean, you're going to see some major earthquakes, like major earthquakes, You're going to see, it's most of the signs. Okay, so the war is in between minor signs and major signs. So the major earthquakes are part of the major signs, but those things are going to happen before the complete end, before the end of basically Earth, life on Earth and all the things. When God says, all right, it's a wrap, pull them up, let's see, all right, you're good, you're bad, you're good, you're bad, the judgment day. Before that, you have a bunch of minor signs for us. To be honest, all the minor signs have happened. Like I would say 99% of them have already happened. So there's only a few left that haven't happened yet, and they're so obscure that I can't really understand them. So I can't even really explain them to say what I would look for. You just know them after you see them.
Try to explain one.
It says something about a giant, it's like an idol, and people be dancing around it. That's the only thing I can think of that hasn't happened.
That happens all the time.
like
Right?
dancing, like if you say like dancing half naked people, dancing half naked women, like shaking it around a giant
Yeah, I feel like that
statue.
happens. I feel like that happens a lot.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it.
I haven't I haven't seen it, but I feel like it happens.
But I haven't seen that one. But everything else, like the TV was there, the airplanes, STDs, these things weren't around back in the days. All of those things already happened. It's angry children, suicide. That was not a thing in the past. Prophet told us that the end of time won't come until a person walks past the grave and says, "I wish I was in there." People didn't think like that. Even when they were poor, they didn't think like that. But now, people think like that. Angry children, like tantrums. That wasn't a thing. That was one of the things. That was one of the signs. So all of the signs have pretty much happened. So yeah, the war could be around the corner. To be honest, but I don't see it yet. But you never know. You know what I mean? But if any of the the Christians out there looking for Jesus to come back, as far as I know, most of the signs of him returning soon is already happened. So he's probably like there's maybe like one or two minor signs like the one I just told you, and then like maybe one or two other ones that I can't remember may happen, and then, then Jesus. But then we're a little different than the Christians, where we have an after Jesus.
What does that
So
mean?
we have Jesus returning. We have an Antichrist fighting with Jesus over, basically control, because you have all of rich and powerful people who are going to lose their power. We have Jesus winning, then Jesus ruling, which is him being the Messiah, ruling as a king over the whole earth. But it's not gonna be forever. It's gonna be for like a certain time period. So maybe like I think it's either 7 years.
But 7 years of his time or 7 years of our time?
So this is the thing. There's two narrations. One says
Right.
that Jesus is gonna rule for 40 years. And one says that Jesus is going to rule for 7 years.
Where do those two narrations come from?
They come from books that we have called the Hadith. And the Hadith books, they're not like other books. They're authenticated statements. So we can trace back who said it, back to who heard it from who heard it from who, all the way back to the source, all the way back to the prophet.
The specific person who said it.
And not only that, but we know the biographies of every single person in the chains. So we know how authentic they are, and they're graded. So some of them are graded as authentic, which are the ones that come from multiple sources. So let's say I told you, on Thursday I'm going to the store, and I say to somebody else, on Thursday I'm going to the store, and I say to somebody else, on Thursday I'm going to the store, but you three don't know each other, and then all of you three report that I said that, that's considered an authentic statement, because you three didn't know each other, and you're all reporting the same statement. This is authentic. Then you have another one that's good, which is just everybody in the chain is good. This person heard it from this person, who heard it from this person, and all of them were known to be reliable. None of them were liars. All of them were trustworthy.
Right.
None of them have a bad reputation,
Right.
and their fathers were good, and
Right.
and they come from a good family.
Right.
We accept their
blessing or understanding or
we accept narrations that come from them as good. But there's one source, one good, strong source. Multi-sources is more powerful than one good source. But basically what I'm trying to say is that
a hadith is a multi-source.
Yeah, like they're very,
That's how you pronounce it, right?
hadith, yeah.
Hadith. Okay.
And if it's more than one, it's called ahadith. So that's the
Ahadith.
plural. But so yeah, when we hear these things, even the ones that we consider as weak are stronger than what most people read in the New Testament.
What do you mean by that?
Because
How is it stronger?
Because the New Testament you have Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Okay.
Who are those people? Who was writing for them? Nobody really knows. So these kind of statements,
I see what you're
they're
saying.
they're not even
I see what you're
strong
saying.
enough to be classified as weak
I see what you're
in
saying.
our standard, based on our
I see
standard.
what you're saying.
We would consider them to be fabrications. We would call them as fabricated, meaning like you can't trust. We don't,
Because how deep
who
can
knows?
it? Right.
But you need to have a chain of narrations going back to know if these statements have been altered or the people reliable. If somebody in the line was known to be, old or have a bad memory or something, that makes the whole thing weak. It doesn't mean it was false, but it just means that it's not. We don't take it as strong.
Right.
Like if somebody said, if our prophet told us to do something and the narration is weak, and somebody says, "Oh, I'm not going to do that," we don't look at them as a bad person because it's a weak narration. We don't really, it has to be authentic for us to follow it. So, the things I'm telling you, I'm just paraphrasing all of these different prophecies and stuff, but they're all, even the weak ones are stronger than what people will live by. You know what I mean? Today, with the books that they have, because people
Right.
like to go to old books, and when they want the truth, they go back to older books, and they're like, no, I want the truth. I'm gonna go back to the oldest book. But the thing is, the farther back you go in time, the more corrupt it is. The more things have been changed, the more things have been lost, the more things have been forgotten. What you want to do is you go to the newest book. And that's what we do, is the Quran is the newest book. And it comes directly from God. So if there is a God, right, and he left you information, why wouldn't you just take the latest information? If you're going back to the oldest book, it means that you don't trust the source, you don't trust God. So that's how we how we look at it. But we have reliable
Connections
sources.
in the way
Yeah.
it really makes people understand as well, right? And to make not only, it's kind of like when you're doing research and you're looking at where people found their facts, and then they have their little attachment.
Right. And you have to put that
Right.
citation. You can't just
Exactly.
put out some research without a proper citation.
I get what you're saying.
But if I just tell you, oh yeah, Matthew said it.
Right.
Matthew who?
Matthew
Like,
who?
like who? What?
Who's Matthew's father?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they want to know. We want to know.
Yeah.
Like,
We wanna know.
We want to know. And then you have.
Yo, that's fucking funny to me because it's like, no. I'm not taking that. No. I want to know his father. Let me know if that's fucking.
Yeah. And then you want to know his reputation.
Right.
You want to know his biography. You want to know who his students were,
Wow.
where they went, what were their reputations.
That's interesting. You know,
Yeah.
I haven't heard that dynamic from any Christians. That's true.
Because all the other religions are older. So it's before
So-
things were properly preserved. Like, you can't try to preserve something. I mean, you could, theoretically, but it hasn't been done. From things like 1500 BC, the time of Moses, like, the what we have today is not from Moses. You know what I mean? There's a whole huge gap, where it was nothing.
Right.
And then it just appeared again. And then that's what people are passing down. But how do we know? We don't know, like, you're basing on
Right.
somebody's memory. Whereas our book, you can't change it because people memorize it. It rhymes. If I spit it to you, you would think it was a rap.
For real?
Yeah.
You know, say a part of it.
I'll say the one that we always say. So this is like our version of the Our Father,
Okay.
right? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. That's how it sounds. So imagine that, but a whole book of that.
Right.
And people and the reason I could just spit it to you like that is because it rhymes and it sticks in your head.
It is melodic.
So when
Yeah.
somebody is reciting and they make a mistake, the person behind them corrects them immediately. There's no mistakes. You could travel all around the world, it's going to be the same.
Same.
Because if a person makes a mistake, the person behind them will correct them. And it's all in the same language.
Wow.
So you can't. You could take and you could burn every single
Right.
one. You could burn every single. There was a guy. He said, "Oh, he's like a radical. He don't like Islam." He said, "I'm gonna burn every Quran. We want to burn every Quran. You could burn every Quran in the world. We got 5-year-old kids who'll bring it back in a day. The whole thing, one kid. There's 10 million people who know the whole book. By heart, no mistakes. They have certificates for this. So it's not. You can't change it.
And they know their fathers.
Well, actually, you know what's funny? The
What?
certificate has their teacher's name,
Yeah.
and that teacher's name, and that teacher's name, all the way back to the source.
For real?
All the way back to the source.
Whoa, that's heavy.
That's the certificate.
That's heavy.
It's called a hafiz.
Hafiz?
Hafiz.
Hafiz.
Yeah, hafiz means like
Hafiz.
protector.
Hafiz.
And this is written in the book. It
Wow,
says,
that's amazing.
and this is in the book. It says in the book,
Hafiz.
I revealed this book, and I'm going to be the one to protect it. God
Wow.
is saying that. God is saying that.
Wow.
So, what are you going to do with that? You can't, you know,
can't.
unless you kill all 2 billion of us and burn every book,
Right.
it's still going to be here. You know what I mean? So
That's
there's
insane.
nothing you can do with that. You know?
That's insane.
Yeah,
Yo,
so-
bro, so you know I have this part in the podcast that I asked the individual, can you give me a question?
Oh,
right?
damn, I knew you were going to do this.
That I could bring
I
out
knew you were
to
going to do this.
society.
I have no question ready.
And you got, you know,
Oh,
you don't have
man.
to, you know, give it to me right now, but I am expecting a question.
All right.
You know, at some point.
I think I want to ask something about space.
Okay.
Or about the sea.
Okay. But what exactly?
Oh, man.
Just, you can think about it for a
Oh,
second.
man, this is a tough one.
No pressure.
All right, let's save it to the end.
Okay.
Let's save it to the end.
Let's save it to the end.
Yeah.
All right,
Because
so-
that sandwich one was good, man.
So a hafiz.
Hafiz. You
Hafiz.
can say with a Z. There's different ways to pronounce it.
Hafiz.
Like in English, you would say Hafiz.
Hafiz.
Yeah.
Hafiz.
Yeah.
So who was the first Hafiz?
I don't know.
Right?
There
There's
were
gotta be.
companions.
There's
I mean-
gotta be the first. There's
Well, I
gotta be the
mean-
one. There's gotta be the one that is like, you know what? I need to do this. Right?
Well, the thing is that, like, so when you're talking about how it was put together,
Mm-hmm.
right? The prophet, he would get the revelation, divine revelation,
Right.
and then he would go into like cold sweats.
Mm.
He would be like, you know, feeling the force of the revelation coming down, and then it would just come out of his mouth,
Mm.
right? And it would come out, and it took 20 years for the whole thing. And when he's revealing it, he's telling people what goes where. He's like, okay, this goes here, this goes there, this goes in chapter this, verse this, and this is, and he's telling people where to put each thing that's coming out. So it kind of came together like that. And it's very mathematical. So like, even the one that I recited to you, the first 3 verses and the last 3 verses, they coincide with each other, and then the one in the middle is like in the middle. So it's very mathematical and how it's put together. So
Music is mathematical.
yeah.
So it does have to be orchestrated in a certain way in order for it to harmonically sound good.
So to memorize it all, it would have to have been finished.
Impossible.
You know, so 20
But
years.
not impossible. But like,
There's-
for
No,
anyone
people do
else-
it. People
yeah.
do it, but I don't know who the first one was because it
Yeah.
took 20 years for it to complete. And then after the 20 years were done, that's when it was complete. And then whoever after that would be. So there were people with them memorizing pieces of it at the time.
So
but
it took 20 years to complete, and every Hafiz literally has 20 years of just people putting in work to get this created.
I don't know how long it takes to become a Hafiz. But
As well.
there's very young kids who are Hafiz.
That's what I'm saying.
You know.
It's just, it's in you.
It just, you got to try. I
Right.
mean, me personally, right?
Yeah.
I'm not even Arab. I'm a convert. Nobody
Okay.
taught me anything. I know 30 chapters, 32 chapters or something like that. I know one
By
Jews.
heart.
I know one Jews. One Jews is 1/30th of the book. I know one Jews by heart. So I could literally, you know, recite one chapter per
Like
day for a month.
hypothetically, we're not gonna do it now, but hypothetically, if we did it now, how long would that be, bro?
It would take about, it depends how fast I go. Like that, what you just heard,
Yeah.
I did it very fast. It's really supposed
That
to
was-
be,
okay.
It's really supposed to be like, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
Okay.
Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. It's supposed to be like that. So you could do it slow, you could do it fast. It depends how you do it. But
So when
it
you're
would
at
take,
the
like-
mosque, it's slow, right?
it depends who's reciting it.
Okay.
You know, some people,
Everyone has their
some
own
people
style?
Are, yeah, there's different, and there's 7 different styles.
Oh, so there's specific styles.
There's official styles, and
Okay.
then there's unofficial styles, and then there's just everybody just doing their own thing, have their own style. So like me personally, I
Right.
don't know any of the official styles because
So
I
it's
wasn't
unofficial.
trained. I'm not trained
Right.
by any official person to know the official style. So I'm just giving it to you.
You're doing this out of your very own nature because you want to know.
Right. So I just memorized it on my own,
Wow.
you know. But just so I know, because when you're praying, we recite that while we're
Right.
praying. So the more you know, the better your better prayers are. You connect,
Right.
you know, you get connected, and then you get guidance from the unseen. You just stop, and then the car passes by, and you're like, oh, that car didn't hit me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so this is how you get.
It's how you take your grace, and it's how you take your like blessings in life too. I feel like, right? Like to wake up, you're lucky. To wake up, you're blessed. To have food, you're blessed, right? Like if you're appreciative, I feel like there is something to living, and having life.
Well, what happens is everything that we do has a consequence, and there's good consequences and bad consequences, and sometimes people don't know that the consequence of one thing is another thing. So for example, right? People know that if you were too promiscuous, you might catch something.
It's true.
That's written. So that's obvious, right? But people don't know that the interest, the banks, what they do with interest and collecting interest leads to war. That's an indirect thing that you don't know, but if you really think about it, you understand because you're causing inflation, you're taking money from other people, you're enslaving them, and then you're getting richer. So eventually what happens is you have a rich-poor dynamic, and then the poor become larger, and the rich become smaller, a group of people with more money, and then eventually the poor just overtake them, and then they just, they end them, and this happens with countries. You have big countries, and they're in debt. Smaller countries are in debt to big countries, and the big countries come in, and they take their resources and stuff, and the people get mad, and they go and they do an attack, and it leads to war. People don't really think about that, but that's the side effect of that. So the good things that you do, they also have. So what you just said, being appreciative, like if you wake up and you appreciate it, you get a little piece of food, you stop for a second, you appreciate it, then you eat it, that grows your wealth. That's the side effect of that.
I believe that.
It grows your wealth.
Tremendously.
Because why? Because if you are appreciative, that's the whole point of life, appreciating what God has given you. So if God has given you and you appreciate it, why is he going to put you through a hard time? He's not going to do that. So what he's going to do is he's going to give you more because you can handle it.
Right.
But if he wants you to go to heaven, right? And you're not a person that can handle a lot of things. Like let's say you're good right now, but you're broke.
Yeah.
But I give you $1 million and then you just go out, you get hookers, you get wasted, you pass out. God's gonna say if you're supposed to go to heaven, he's like, don't give him the $1 million. I like him the way he is right now when he's broke. He's good like that. Let him die like that, and I'll reward him after. But then if you're cursed, he give him $1 billion. And then you're just living it up, blah, blah, you're completely da-da-da. And then one day he's like, all right, his time is up. Take his soul. And then you just die. And then you realize that all of that stuff you were doing, playing around, buying houses, flying around the world didn't mean anything because you weren't really conscious and you weren't grateful. So these are people who are cursed, but they're cursed with wealth, given more. So the curses and the punishment, we don't know what is what.
That's so heavy.
Some people think that when you get money, you're blessed. It's not always. And it depends how you are with it.
Sometimes they're so fucked up, right? Individuals. Like they're socially awkward, really weird, just weird people.
Yeah. Because you got people who own more money than some countries.
That's true.
Somebody asked me about Elon Musk. They're like, how much is Elon Musk? I looked it up. He's worth like $450 billion.
Yeah.
And then I looked up the GDP of the nations of the world. He has more money than the GDP of I think 20 or 30 nations.
It's crazy.
I think Belgium. He has more personal money than the whole economy of Belgium.
I got a couple friends that think he's an alien.
He could be
right? Like they're kind of like just weird.
I believe in aliens.
You believe in aliens?
Yeah, I mean it says in the book that God created the heavens and the earth and he spread living beings throughout them. So it's not. It doesn't say there's aliens, but it doesn't say there's not aliens. But it says the heavens and the earth. But like I told you, that could be the skies. It could mean the birds, or it could mean the whole heavens. This is a hakika. If there's aliens, it could be two truths in one statement. So I do believe there are things out there.
Yo, that's what makes, and I don't know if this is weird to say, but that's what makes rap so dope. Cause you're saying it is kind of you were spitting it, right? And in rap, there's metaphors and double meanings all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's cool that, I don't know, man. No matter what, we're always, even indirectly, always trying to connect with God.
I'll tell you something else. You ever see them studying the book, the Jewish people and the Muslim people? You see them going like this, right?
Okay.
What do you when you hear a rap song?
Right.
It sticks in your head. Why? Because you're doing this.
Right.
This is how they memorize. This is a key to memorization. We've been doing this for thousands of years. People don't realize it. when they're listening to something and they're going like this, that's they're putting it to memory, but they don't really they don't really realize that this is something that has been going on for thousands of years, and they're just, you know, doing that out of their nature without realizing where they originally come from, what kind of people going back, because you had all types of things that happened in history, wars, slavery, erasing people, changing people's language, moving people, wiping certain people off the map. So people do things and they don't even realize where it comes from going way back.
Right.
You know, like I remember I was saying something in like some Arabic words, and the Spanish person was like, "Oh, you know, that sounded like a Spanish word." And I was like, "Yeah, there's thousands of Spanish words that come from Arabic because Spain used to be Muslim for 800 years, and people don't know that. You know."
I didn't know that.
It's bugging you out, right?
Nah, but I didn't know that. I really didn't know that.
Why? Because Spain is next to Morocco.
Right.
It's almost right there.
Yeah, it's right there.
So what happened was there was a princess. Some
So is a princess.
some guy, some prince or somebody was taking her land.
Okay.
And we had a Muslim Khalifa who we call this person Amir al-Mu'mineen, which means the ruler of all the believers. At that time, Khalifa could say one thing and every Muslim follows it. Nobody will disobey him. And she was like, she appealed to him. She's like, this guy's taking my land. He's being unjust to me. Come save me. He was like, okay. Sent the people over there, and they just went in and they took over Spain, and they ruled Spain for 800 years. You know? Yeah. But what happened was the Crusades came.
Right.
And then after the Crusaders took Spain back, they expelled the Jews first, I think.
You're saying it right there. It's always a constant test. And we're always in this loop because we're not ever focusing on the test.
Well, focusing is worship. So when you focus on something, when you think about something, you're giving it attention, and the human being's attention is like the worship. It's very valuable. So if you see people on social media, for example, if you were on TikTok and you had 1 million followers and they took away TikTok, there were people who felt like, you know, but it's because they're feeling like worship being taken away, like attention being taken away. Attention is like that. It's a commodity, you know. So what the evil forces of the world try to do is distract you. So when you're focusing on something and you're like, you know what, I think I'm gonna do something good today. All of a sudden somebody was just, hey, you wanna go do this?
Yeah.
Like people try to distract you.
I don't like that shit. It gets me bothered, honestly.
No, but
that's
that's from the devil. That's what that is.
That's why I don't fucking fuck with it. It gets me annoyed.
He's trying to distract you.
Yo, for real, yo. And it's like, yo, I'm not, yo. I'm like going this way.
No, because he has a way that he does things, right?
I know.
So first he does what he
fucking
does is he
annoying.
tries to get you to do evil.
Right.
Then if he can't get you to do evil, he'll try to get you to do something less evil, like a little sin. If he can't get you to like commit murder, he'll be like, all right. How about you do this other little thing? It's not a big deal, right? And if he can't get you to do that, he'll just distract you with something that's not good or bad. Just be like, just sit there and just, you know, play this game for hours and hours and hours, and you just be distracted with that. And then if that's not the case, then you're doing something good, and he can't throw you off. He'll try to keep you from doing something great. You know, so you're doing something good for yourself, but in reality, if you put more effort into it, you could be doing something great that influences other people, that changes society, and blah, blah, blah. He'll just try to stop you from doing that because he's like, I can't stop this guy. So I'm just trying to hold him just to being good, but I could try to keep him from being great, and I could get everybody else because he'll influence other people.
Easily.
Yeah, so this is his strategy, you know? So this is, you know, so we just have to not be distracted, because if you look at all the greats, like the Buddha, all of these great people of spirituality, they always got their revelations and all of their, you know, that thing that they get, they always get it when they're sitting down doing nothing. You know?
Right.
What we call boredom.
Idling mind.
Boredom.
Yeah, but you ever heard of that? The idling mind is like...
Well, they say the idle mind is the devil's playground.
Exactly.
But this is not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about being idle. I'm talking about like, it's not like you're sitting in your room with nothing to do, and so you just look at porn. It's not like that. Right. It's like you're on a mountain somewhere and you're contemplating and you're sitting in like a meditative state and you're looking at like the ocean crashing and you're looking at the bodies in space and you're just like, wow, you know, like that's a different, you know. But being in a room is not the same.
It's not.
You know, it kind of, you know, when you're stuck in a room, it'll make you crazy. That's why they lock people in jails, you know, it messes with you. You know, because a room is not the same as being out in nature.
In nature,
you know,
that's true.
Yeah,
and just being in life, hearing the water flow, hearing the wind,
Because the colors vibrate.
It's true. And
The
there's
sun, the light comes from the sun. It bounces off of things at different colors, create different wavelengths of vibration, and it makes you feel good. It
even
makes you feel a
just
certain
the vitamin D deficiency. You need sunlight.
Yeah.
That's why
you need the
people
sun.
in New York were all like low in vitamin D. For real.
Because of the buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're barely getting sun.
But yeah, we're supposed to be part of this whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know? But now after COVID, they locked everybody in.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it this way, right? If what they're doing makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
people will be happier now than at any other time because people are more connected now than any other time. If I want to talk to somebody on the other side of the world, I can pull out my phone and do it in 2 seconds. So why do people not have friends? Why do people not go out anymore?
That's right.
Why do people not gather, you know,
They
like
do.
they used to, you know,
They
before
don't,
that
yeah,
time?
yes.
Not like before.
No, that's true.
You know, I'm older than you. I remember like people used to be out. Like there's parts of Manhattan I used to go where there would be people out all the time, you know. And now it's like, you know, like restaurants and stuff.
Yeah,
There's
you're
certain
right.
restaurants
It
that
is
people
different.
people go to still, but
Even
a lot of them closed.
Yeah.
A lot of things closed down, you know.
just gatherings in general.
Yeah, people used to gather.
Yeah.
People used to play
Different.
sports. I remember getting my friends, we used to go to the basketball court, you know. Kids don't really do it like that anymore. They got even rid of phys ed.
Video games, mostly video games.
Yeah.
Kids love video
Yeah.
games.
But they'll connect
They'll connect.
on the headset.
Right.
But the thing is that like if we're so connected, why are people not happy? Why is everybody taking like medication for, you know, their anxiety or
something,
different
right?
things like that? Like we should be more happy now that we're more connected, right? But it's not the same. It's not the same as being out in it, you know? If I see you on
Do you think it's just, but I think it's also about trust, right? Like, I think, and in most communities, people are just set to their own little culture, right?
Yeah, that's wrong.
So once they're in their clique, they feel comfortable and they'll do all those things, right?
Right.
But like, in a place like New York where there's just so much diversity, I think people can feel alone, but then also welcomed at the same time. It depends on what you're doing, who you are, and what you provide.
Right.
I think. Because at the end of the day, bro, I've met so many different people, man. So I can never say that that's the case for me.
Yeah.
You know what
Well,
I mean?
you're
Like,
different because you're actively trying, but I'm talking about the average person. The majority of people are not as social as people used to be. And then you're talking about a city with 8 million people.
Right.
And there's a lot of people who are like lonely, single,
Yeah.
alone all the time. Like
It's true.
it's like you know, and a lot of this happened since COVID. It got worse. You know?
It did get worse.
So
It did get worse.
yeah,
man.
it's a little.
And you're right.
crazy,
There's a lot of homeless.
You know.
There's a lot of things going on in the world, man.
But staying with the clique, there's like communities that do that, like religious communities, but that's not really what you're supposed to do. Because if you look at the lives of all of the messengers, you know, in the Bible, same thing. They traveled, they lived with people who were around them who didn't think like them. You know, like you look at Noah, he had like a group of people. It wasn't a big group. He was surrounded by everybody laughed at him. Well, he's building a boat. Look at him building a boat for no reason. You know, Abraham was by himself, the only one who thought like that.
Right.
In the whole community, they were like gonna burn him, and then he left and he left. You know, but it's the thing is what you know we should do is interact with different types of people, not avoid everybody and try to stay in your own little thing.
Yeah, nah,
It doesn't. It's not the way that
I've learned
that
so
I think
much
it is.
from doing this,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
You know, like it's,
That's why I come out here. I talk
Nah,
to you.
yeah, I appreciate it, bro.
You
I
know?
really appreciate you coming over here, man, because it means a lot. I think these types of conversations hold a lot of weight, and if people are truly like listening and being in tune with it, they can understand that for sure.
Because there's a lot of topics.
It's heavy, man.
You could talk about a lot of topics, but
It's
certain
heavy.
topics you shouldn't avoid.
Right.
You know, you ever notice like people will say, "Okay, you could talk to me about anything, but avoid
this,
politics and
right.
religion."
Yeah.
And I'm like, those are the two most important. Like, how you gonna not talk about those?
Right.
You know, there's certain people. Oh, I don't want to hear about Trump. Don't talk about Trump.
For real.
Yeah, they'll be like, don't talk about religion. I don't want to hear about it. You know,
Yeah,
so
there's
like,
some
but
people
like,
like that.
talk to me about sports. You know,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is fun, but it's at the end of the day, it's just sports.
It's
Like,
also
not,
nah. It's not just
you
sports,
know?
bro.
Yeah.
No. I'm not even a sports guy, bro. I'm just saying like that's also a culture, bro.
Yeah.
People are dedicated fans, bro. They'll tap in, learn about the player before and after, like all this shit. You know what I mean? Like,
But you get what I'm saying. People don't like
Absolutely.
to talk about things that
yeah,
are deep.
that are gonna connect heavier. They want to go surface level. It's easier.
Surface level, and the surface level keeps you distracted and keeps you away from important conversations, which people don't want to look at themselves and think that they might have to do something or they might have to change something.
Which would lead to a better community if we did, right? Like if we were more open and like just communicative to one another and just like really like help and provide in the aspects that we really need. But that's just in the sense that, I mean, people are fucking traumatized. So it's difficult.
That's true. When I travel, I see it.
Yeah, man.
Because a lot of places are very different. When you travel, you see it.
And trauma hits people different, right? What do you say? Like, not many people can handle trauma, and then some people do handle trauma. Why? That's not genetic, because then people would pass that down to their kids, but that's not the case. Sometimes, it goes here and there, right? Like, what is that? I've wondered this for
It's your
a long
expectations.
time.
It's your expectations, because when I travel, I see people going through much worse situations than what we have. The worst person here is dealing with, and there's millions of people dealing with that, but they got a smile on their face.
Yeah.
Why? Because they didn't watch a movie with everybody living a certain way, or they're not on social media looking at people traveling around the world on yachts. So when you look at that kind of stuff, you think that this is what life is supposed to be, and then when you don't get it, you get depressed. But if you just grow up, you don't have nothing. Everybody around you don't have nothing. It's normal. They still have a good time.
Right.
I'm sure you've been to other places.
Yeah.
There's a lot of poor people that
having a great time.
They're having an amazing time. You know what I mean? Like, and I've seen people with money,
not much, have the
like
worst
serious
time.
money, who are just like depressed. I know somebody with a $1 million house who's not happy.
Right.
In a $1 million house. So it's
right.
It's about perspective.
It is. Are you gonna be happy with your decision, right? Like, and would it be worth it?
Yeah. And there's other things too, like they're making us weaker on purpose.
With everything. Yeah.
Especially men.
Where we're eating, everything.
Yeah, that's on purpose, because what happens is we're living in a time where the rich have had more wealth and power than at any other time in history. So what they want to do is they want to keep the men preoccupied and weak. You know what I mean? They want to keep you like,
right,
like this,
demobilized.
because what will happen is if we didn't have these distractions,
right.
me and you will be talking about other things.
Exactly.
We'll be sitting around, but like, you see these guys? They got too much power, right? They're taking all of our money.
Yep.
They're not taking care of the poor.
Right.
We need to get rid of these guys. And this is what happens throughout history.
Always.
And they study history more than we do. So they look at like things like what happened in France, where they overthrow like the bourgeoisie, and then it's off with their heads, like, so they're like, I don't want that to happen to me.
Right.
Make them all weak, keep them distracted, so we can keep getting this money. And they just want more and more. But they never. I don't understand why they don't get satisfied. Like, why does a billionaire still work?
Well,
I just don't get it.
Well, I think that's it goes back to what you were saying, right? It's like their own curse, because it's like they're cursed to want that. You right? Because you're gonna die, right? You ever heard what's it called? Dante's Inferno?
I heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
So Dante's Inferno is a story that entails what happens when you're on your way to hell.
Oh, okay.
And apparently, like, there's like I think I forgot, it was like 7 or 8 different stages, and like depending on what type of person you were and what desires you wanted, you would go into this specific type of realm that you would have to just be in. And it's really, messed up shit. Let's put it that way. But I think that, the realm, the people that have the greed, their realm was like, they had to have like a big boulder, a big rock, and they're pushing it up a mountain.
Oh.
And it's like they're just constantly like.
Yeah, because if you let go, it's gonna.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see something like that happening.
It's pretty interesting, because I think that, all right, so if that's the case, right, you are in your own hell then. Because like you're never gonna be satisfied. And you're always gonna be feeling like this is what I need to do in order to be satisfied, but then you're in that constant loop. It's like a drug addict.
It's like a drug addict.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what it is.
But it's just in a different.
Right. And this is what all of these religious rules and laws are about. Because when you get a hit of whatever it is that is your particular
Weed,
vice,
weed is my shit.
you get a dopamine hit.
Right.
You know. I mean, I don't know about the weed. I can't really comment on it because I don't know.
I think weed is
know?
good, in my opinion. Only because it comes from the earth, bro. Like, I mean, I do a lot, and I never like lacked because of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just there. You know?
Yeah, there's good things and then there's bad things,
Yeah.
and so you know, it's a little bit mixed.
Right.
You know, because it depends also what law you're following. For my law, I would say my personal opinion. I would say I wouldn't do it. I used to, you know, probably more than you ever in your whole life.
Yeah.
Of course, but you know, in I think the Bible, the older book says that every plan is for the service of mankind. You know, so it depends on what you're following there.
Okay.
You know, but I'm not talking about that. What I'm saying is like in general, like
Okay.
every particular vice, it gives you a little dopamine hit.
Yeah.
And what happens is if somebody tells you to let it go, you can't let it go. And so therefore you can't let anything into your heart. You can't connect.
It's blocking.
So what the laws
That's
are
what
supposed to
you're
do is supposed to remove those things from you so that
Right.
you don't need that constant hit. So God will tell you like, okay, fast. You know, and there's some people, I mean, we're fasting from food, but we're also fasting from other things. You're fasting from getting into fights. You're fasting from like sexual relations during the day.
Right.
You're fasting from a lot of different things. And you're supposed to be a good person in general, you know, more so during that time. And when he says give your wealth, bro, I know how if like when you start saving money, you feel it pulling at you. And you get cheaper than when you were broke. Somebody asks you for money, you're just like, oh, you know, I really saved this. It took years. You don't want to get, and it's like, yo, you have more than you had before when you were just, you know. So it does do that. It has a spiritual, like wealth has a pull. So what you got to do is you got to just, here. and then it rips it from your heart because the people who, you know, and I got people, you know, in my family who accumulated a certain amount of wealth and it's in their heart. They can't let it go. Like, and they'll do things that don't make sense. And it's like, you're good. Why are you behaving like that? It's because it's here. It's not in their hand. It's in their heart.
Right.
You know, and then that's the problem. It's not when the thing is there. It's when it's in your heart and you can't take it out to put something better in there. You know, and that's why, like, if you even look at the Buddhists, they have this thing called annihilation of the self, and they'll sit like a monk won't have any possessions, and they say we don't want to own any possessions, you know, because they're trying to keep things from attaching to them. So this way they can stay focused on spirituality and being a higher, elevated being.
Self.
You know, elevated being. But all these things, you know, so it's just a battle. It's just a battle. You know?
It's an inner battle, spiritual warfare.
Spiritual warfare. You know?
It definitely is.
Yeah. So.
Constantly, throughout all time.
Yeah. But you know, it is what it is.
Right.
You know.
But it is not at the same time.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's like space. It's a lot of nothing, but something.
Yeah.
Yo, bro, I feel like this is the time that you would tell me a question. You gotta have the question.
I can't think of any questions right now.
Really?
To ask the people.
Yeah, it doesn't gotta be that deep.
Oh man, I should have came with a question.
Maybe.
The problem is that you came with that one like, is a hot dog a sandwich?
But
And
look,
that was so deep that I'm still thinking about it.
it's a good question.
I don't know if a hot dog is a sandwich.
Shout
or not.
out Cotton Candy Kid.
Yeah, bro. Like I think it. Yeah, I don't know the answer. I don't know if it was or if it wasn't. You know.
Definitely was. Or is.
Maybe we should ask the. How about this one? If you could be any animal,
Okay.
which animal would you choose?
That's it?
Yeah.
All right. Yo, so if you could choose to be any animal, what animal would you choose?
A dog.
A dog?
Yeah.
Why?
I think they're cute.
Yeah?
That's why,
You're going with a dog.
yeah.
I bet. Thank you. It's a dog. What animal would you choose?
I'll probably choose a shark.
Okay.
Yeah. I just think of.
I would just throw in why. Okay? Why shark?
I don't know. I just think about like 100 million years of development,
Okay.
highly precise,
Yeah.
fine-tuned,
Yeah.
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 skills.
Yeah, but I think alligators lived longer.
Alligators are dinosaurs.
Yeah.
There's certain animals that are dinosaurs. Like,
Yeah.
if you look at
I think they lived for like over 400 million years.
Look at an ostrich and tell me it's not a dinosaur.
Yo, you know that there's a jellyfish that could live forever if it's not eaten? Or like
Oh, is it
hunted?
the one that just keeps growing?
It just lives forever. Like, yo, like what?
Yo, is that
Yo,
like those tails of those giant
that's
jellyfish that just come out and
crazy,
just
yo.
like, yeah.
I'm gonna look up what the shit is called. I'm gonna clip it. No, because it's insane, bro. It's insane. What jellyfish lives forever? Yo. I can't even say
Immortal jellyfish.
the Torito.
Whoa,
the
reverse
Torito
its
post.
aging process and
Yeah.
potentially live forever.
Yeah.
Bro, that's
Yeah, yeah.
crazy.
It's called Torito. Torito piss. No, Toritopsis dohirni.
I don't even know how to say that.
I can't pronounce
I'm not even
that,
gonna
bro.
try.
Jellyfish. It's an immortal jellyfish.
But yeah, when we get back, I'm gonna tell you something about the jellyfish, though.
What do you mean?
I'm gonna tell you something deep.
Okay.
This is from a sheikh.
All right, say it right now.
There's a sheikh that I follow.
Okay.
He's very deep.
Okay.
He talks about depth. Like he talks about, metaphysical things, right? He's the one where I got the tree from. I'm gonna tell you what he said about the tree later, but what he said about the jellyfish is he said that here historically, right, the sea has always represented the human consciousness. And he said that if you look at the seas now, the fish and the great animals are dying. Like the whales,
That's true.
and things like that are dying.
Right.
And he's like, that's the greatness in the human consciousness. And he said the jellyfish are taking over the seas. And what are jellyfish? They're spineless, mindless consumers. And this is what we're becoming.
Shit.
Just spineless, mindless consumers.
Oof.
You know?
That's heavy.
And the business people will call you that. They'll be like, consumers will say, they just call us consumers. Like, we're just here to just
Right.
consume products.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
Yeah. And
Wow.
he said that this is human consciousness
Wow.
because we're connected to the earth. So
Right.
we're related to all of
Yeah,
these things that are going
absolutely.
on.
Absolutely. Whoa, that's heavy, yo.
Yeah.
That's
And
fucking
one other
heavy.
thing that he said about
Yeah, because literally animals are just washing up ashore, bro. Constantly.
Yeah, he said the
But
great,
I mean, I
great
guess that I
animals.
was like, yo.
He said great animals are disappearing.
That means the camera died.
Oh.
But yo, constantly. Every single time we talk, man, it's fucking dope as fuck. Definitely gonna have you back. You already know, bro. Yo, thank you so much. Yeah, no one can find you, so. Like,
No,
it's not
it's
like-
good. It's good.
Yeah,
Like that.
yeah.
I like it like that. I like it like that. I don't want. You know what it is?
The audio's still going.
Yeah, when I was like had the social media, you get too excited. I ended up like, just being too out there. Not too out there, but like you're looking for. Oh, did this person like my post? Oh, did this? And I'm just like, I don't like to be the one that gets the likes. I like to
Right.
see what's going on and just observe.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's why I like to be behind the scenes when it
see.
comes to that.
Yeah.
For now, I might do social media later
I think you would be
But-
a powerful force, man.
for business purposes. I might
Yeah.
have to talk to you about that.
Yeah, we will. Yo, all right, but so yeah, bro.
It's the conversation. Yeah. Take your mind different places. Now you know.